Now we'll move on to comparables. So to do that, we're just going to pick one unit and run comps on that unit. So we'll take unit 4N, for example. We're just going to go ahead and run comps now for this unit. Click on Find Comparables. The site's automatically going to run a search for sales that have occurred within the last 6 months within a half-mile radius of this property, and it's also a condo unit. So you'll see here, half mile, 6 months, and it's only looking for condo units. Now, while this loads the results, it's saying here that the search returned more than the maximum. Our current maximum is 50. If you want to see more results, you can always raise that, but the easiest way to get around hitting that maximum is to change your criteria. Obviously, just 6 months and half a mile is not a lot of criteria. So if you want to make some adjustments, that's going to narrow your results, get you down below that 50. So, for example, the radius. Your initial radius is half a mile. You can make it a quarter mile if you want. Or again, if you're talking about a condo or co-op building, just sales within that building. We can do a quarter mile. That would definitely narrow our results. Same thing for the sale date. The sale date, we have a 6 months, but you can use 3 months going all the way back to 36. We'll keep the 6. Now, in terms of the condo building class, these are specific condo building classes, so you can choose from this drop-down box. But if you did want to include other types, so for example, if you wanted condo and co-op results, you can do that by coming over to the advanced criteria here on the side and click on, for example, condos. So this is just going to be able to show you condo sales, but there are other criteria options available here, so you can see those by clicking on the options and seeing what the different criteria are available. You can also use square footage. So if you wanted to use the square footage as a criteria, you can. For example, this unit is 1,150 square feet. You can use a minimum or a maximum or a range if you'd like to determine what types of unit sizes you want to include. But we'll go ahead and rerun the search with the quarter mile and see what we get. Alright, so it looks like we've still got more than 50 even with a quarter mile, so we'll just leave it at that. But basically, the site's going to find results for you just by clicking on that Find Comps from the report. You can adjust your parameters and get the results that you want, and then you deal with those. The results that we have here, we have our valuation dashboard, which is going to summarize the results for you. It tells you the number of results we found. In this case, it stopped at 50. The lowest price is $382,000. The highest price is over $2 million. And then the next column includes median price information as well. If you click on the advanced statistics option right here, it will also give you the average information. So it'll give you the median and the average here. And also, if you're coming from a property report and you have a target property, we'll give you a valuation of that property based on those sales. So according to the 50 sales that we have here, the unit is worth $1.2 million. And the Yen family paid 1.1, so it looks like they got a good deal. But you can go through the results and you might come up with something altogether different once you start actually looking at the results. So we've got over 50 here, and so you can sort by all of these column headings. But before we get into that, I want to show you this option here, this columns option. If you click on this, this allows you to determine what information you want included in your comps report. So you pick and choose what columns display here. When you first come into PropertyShark, all of these are turned on. So what you want to do is go through, turn off any information you don't want to see. And that's going to hold for every comps report you run going forward, and will only display the columns you have turned on every time you run comps. So it's worthwhile to go through this, make sure all the information you want to include is displayed. You click Save Changes, and it'll reload your results just showing the information you want. That'll make this a lot easier to read and especially easier to print as well. And so if you wanted to sort by, for example, the sale price, we see here that there is one that doesn't have a sale price. So you can actually remove that. You can remove things from the report by clicking on the gray arrow here in front of the address. If you click on that, it removes it from the listing. So you see here now we're dealing with 49, and is adjusted in real time. You can also look for M's. You might see an M attached to the price for a property. That we have one right here. Multi-parcel transaction. That means these two units in this building, 11A and 11B at 111 East 30th Street, were sold together for $1.7 million. So this is bad for your valuation because the final sale price for the 2 units is listed on each unit individually. So you definitely want to take these out when you see the M's on your results. So those will go down to the bottom as you see here. So if you do take something out by mistake, you can always put it back by using these blue arrows. And so you just want to comb through your results and identify which ones really represent market value. So you see the price going down slightly, but not much. And so you may want to compare sale price, square footage. For example, these are obviously very small units, so you can get rid of those. But again, you have price per square foot. So you can use that if you'd want to as well to identify those that are not going to really jive with the current market value, market prices. You can also look at the seller and buyer. This is particularly useful if the seller and buyer have the same last name. That would be your non-arm's length transaction, and you always want to assume that that reflects market value. Also, if you see that the seller is a bank, that's a property that was in foreclosure and went back to the bank, and the bank sold it. So you don't want to assume that that's market value either. So you want to go through and look in whatever information you have to determine what represents a real sale. Use that to determine which of these are valuable to you and which are not. Remove those that are not, and the rest will make up your report. Now, we do also include this tools option in front of each one. So if you click on this wrench, it gives you a few things that you can do. For example, if you're an appraiser, we have the form FNMA, which will help you transfer this information to your a la mode. You can also take a look at the sales history for each of these individual properties. But I think the most useful thing here is the report sections. This allows you to pop up any section from the property report right on this page. So you don't have to go back to the property report if you want to see some information about the property. You can see that right here, for example, the property tax. That section will pop up right here on this page, and you can see it here without having to go into the full report. So very useful when you're looking at comps to determine if there's something you need to check on. Do it right here instead of going to the report and leaving this page. So, for example, if we liked all of these comps, we can just click on this green arrow that's in the column heading, and that allows us to print or export these to Excel or PDF. You have that option right here, print/export. But before we do that, I wanted to show you this also, results on map. This will show you physically where all those sales are relative to your target property. So for those that are out here on the fringe that are a little further away from the property, you can go back into the property report or back into the comparables list and remove those based on their location. So you can use the map for that as well. But if you're ready to print, click on print/export right here, and then you choose what you want to do. If you want to print it out, just click on HTML. That's going to give you your printable version, where you can just go through and print the page that you see. It's going to give you all the information that we previously looked at, but it's going to move the photo to the front. So that's going to be the first thing you see on the list. It'll also include the search criteria and that information from the valuation dashboard at the top. So here you'll see the photos right here on the left side now, and all the property information to the right. You can also sign up for PropertyShark's weekly transfers. What this is going to do is send you an email every week letting you know sales of property types and locations that you choose. So if you click on sign up for weekly transfers, you choose property types and property locations that you're interested in, and then property types that you're interested in by building class, and we'll send you every week a list of those sales that we've received from Acris the previous week. You just sign up for it here, agree to the terms, save your preferences, and the day you sign up is the day you start getting emails. So if you sign up today, you'll get your emails every Wednesday. And this is what they'll look like. It'll be a list of all the sales that we got from Acris pertaining to your locations and types. And so you'll see here the date recorded, the date closed. You want to be aware that this is the recorded date, not the closing date. And Acris does take about 2 to 3 weeks to process a deed. So we get it the day that it's processed, but it does take a little time. So you'll see the closing date was the 12th, but it got into Acris on the 27th. And that's the way these emails will work for you. And you'll get them every week, downloadable in Excel.